Hello, I'm going to walk you through how to fill out the application for SNAP, previously known as food stamps, as well as for emergency assistance and cash assistance programs such as the Diversionary Work Program, General Assistance or GA, MFIP, which stands for the Minnesota Family Investment Program, and Minnesota Supplemental Aid or MSA. Before you start filling out the application, there are some things to consider that some people don't know about. First is if you have an adult child living with you, whether they have income or not, and they are 19 years old or older, they can apply for cash assistance on their own with certain documentation, but they don't have to. You can include them as part of your household for your application. Secondly, if you have an adult child living with you and they are 22 years old or older, they can apply for SNAP benefits on their own as well, with certain documentation, but there again, they don't have to. If either of these is the case, you and they will still need to list everyone in the home on the application. But if they are applying on their own, the adult child would include only their social security number on their application, and you would not include their social security number on your application. If the adult child would leave the boxes for the different programs blank for the others in the home, and you would leave theirs blank on your application. And I'll point that out when we go through the application itself. When they answer the does anyone in your household questions, they are considered their own household and answer only for themselves. They do not include any of you on their application, and you do not include them in your responses to those questions in your application. You will want to find and gather what they call verifications or proofs that you will want to find and have handy as you're filling in these boxes. Gathering these things before you start will save you time and maybe even some frustration. If you aren't able to locate the information, you can still complete the application and turn it in, but you will need to find them and turn them in as well before your application can be approved. This information includes the full names, dates of birth, and social security numbers of everyone living in the home, the most recent employer name or names, addresses, and the most recent 4 to 6 pay stubs for all jobs of everyone living in the home that is working. You're going to need copies of any award letter or letters from Social Security stating all income received through any of their programs for everyone living in the home. You'll need statements verifying income from other sources such as veterans benefits, unemployment benefits, tribal payments, workman's compensation benefits, retirement payments not through Social Security, etc., for everyone living in the home. You'll need statements or court orders stating child support or spousal maintenance or alimony payments received or made by anyone living in the home. You'll need statements of value of any life insurance policies, burial accounts, IRAs, 401ks, or other retirement accounts. You'll need a copy of your mortgage statement with the balance remaining, or your rental lease if you are renting the home. You'll need a statement of your homeowners insurance and property taxes if they're not escrowed into your mortgage. Or if you're a renter, you will need a copy of your renter's insurance policy if you have one. You will need the most recent utility or heating bills for the home. You'll need the most recent phone bill or costs for everyone living in the home. You'll need the names and current balances of all bank accounts and bank types for each person living in the home that has one, including joint accounts. This also includes things like a certificate for deposit or CD. You'll need the year, make, and model of all vehicles owned by anyone in the home, their approximate value. You can use Kelley Blue Book or NADA guides, and any remaining loan balances for those vehicles. These include campers, trailers, ATVs, motorcycles, etc. Once you have this information gathered, if you do not already have an application for these programs, you can pick one up at your local county human services or social services office. You can find a fillable and printable version at edocs.dhs.state.mn.us, and you're looking for form DHS-223-ENG. If you are going to complete it electronically, then print the filled out form. You will need a PDF app like Adobe Acrobat Reader or Foxit Reader or whatever PDF reader you can find and download. You can also complete and submit completely online at applymn.dhs.mn.gov. If you go to the Apply MN website and do everything completely online, you will need to create an account. The main screen will look like this, and you would click on Create an Apply MN account under New User. Once you have that set up, you would log in and you can complete the application that way. The form you're going to complete is called the Combined Application Form. This form is one form that is used for all those different programs. The first page gives you information about the different types of benefits this application is used for. And at the bottom of that page, it tells you which information or verifications, proofs that are required for the different kinds of programs. Whether it be cash assistance, you will need all of these things. If you're only applying for SNAP and no cash programs whatsoever, then you would only need the first 6. There's a bunch of other information on those first pages. One thing I want to point out is that the law requires that they check your income with other agencies. Social Security has information on your wages because people receiving paychecks typically have Social Security automatically taken out of their paychecks. It's kind of the rule or the law, unless you're self-employed. This income also includes any income earned by children under the age of 18. Okay, when we get down to the actual form, up here in the corner, the case number box, you can leave that completely empty. They will assign a case number to you unless you are already receiving one of the other types of benefits. Person 1, that is whoever is filling out the form. It's not necessarily the head of household, it is the person that's actually filling out the blanks on this form. For box 1, you're going to put your legal name, last name first, then your first name, then your full middle name. The second box is any other names you use or have used on, say, bank accounts. If your legal name is William and you go by Bill or Billy or Will, and that's the name on your accounts or on the title to your vehicle or whatever, then you would need to put those names in this box. That also includes females if you're married and took your husband's last name, or if you were married and just haven't legally changed it back, you would also include your legal maiden name. For the third box, your date of birth, they need the 2-digit month. So if you were born in February, it's 02. The 2-digit day, so if your birthday's on the 8th, it would be 08. And then the 2-digit year. Gender, male or female, you do have to specify. They do not give you any alternatives. Address where you live is the physical address of the home, not where you get necessarily where you get your mail. If you do not have a home, then you would write homeless. If you live in an apartment, don't forget to include the apartment number. You put the city and the county that the home is located, as well as the state, which is MN, and your zip code. The box for the mailing address is if you have a PO box that your mail goes to, or if for some reason you don't get mail at your home, it would be the address where your mail normally goes. And that would be the PO box, or it would be the street address, city, state, and zip code of your mailing address. If your mail comes directly to the home where you live, then you would leave the mailing address line blank. Phone number where you can be reached. If you have a home phone, you put that. If you do not have a landline home phone, you would include your cell phone number. Other would be if you have a home phone, but you're not there all the time, other would be your cell phone number. If you want have a cell phone and they can contact you at work because you're at work during business hours, you can always include the work phone number. The next box is, do you live on a reservation? Yes or no. If you do, you need to specify which reservation you live on. And you need the full name of the reservation. Then we get to where it asks, do you need an interpreter? Do you need someone to explain things to you in a language other than English? If you do, you put yes. If you don't, then you put no. Then it wants to know, what is your preferred spoken language? If you're aren't a native English speaker, then you would put whatever spoken language you understand the best. If it's English, you put English. The next box is, what is your preferred written language? There again, if you're not a native English speaker, then or reader, and you can speak English, but you don't read it very well or write it very well, they want to know what language you do write or read better. And if it's English, you put English. If it's not, you put what language you would prefer. If you're filling out the fillable form like I'm showing you here, there is a drop-down box for your marital status. If you are completing the paper form that you got from the Human Services Agency, or if you printed it before you filled this out, then these same codes are listed on page 2 at the top. It'll give you what each of these means, and you put just the letter. You do not have to put all the words describing what your marital status is. Since you are the person filling out the form, you need to include your social security number. And then the next box is the date you most recently moved to Minnesota. If you were born and raised in Minnesota, you would put your birth date in the 2-digit month, date, and year. If you moved here from some other state or country, you would put the date that you moved to Minnesota, and then where you moved from, whether it be the other state or another country. For the US citizen or US national, yes or no, either you are or you aren't. They will ask for verification of some form. Ethnicity and race are optional boxes, whether you're Hispanic or not, or what race you are. Those are optional. You do not have to fill those in. If you do choose to include those, the race codes are again at the top of page 2, right under the marital status codes, and you would put just the letter that indicates your race. For the last school grade completed, If you left school before you finished a grade, you would put the last grade that you actually completed. If you graduated from high school, it would be 12. If you have a one-year degree from a post-secondary education, then it would be 13. A two-year degree would be 14. If you have a bachelor's degree, it would be 16, and so on. And since you are filling out the application, you are applying for one of these programs, or if you're filling it out for somebody else, but you're included as part of their household and they aren't able to complete the application themselves, you would put none. If you are applying for one of these things or want to be counted as part of the household, then you would check whichever box is appropriate. SNAP is food stamps. The cash programs are the general assistance, the diversionary work program, MFIP or MSA programs. Emergency assistance is for a sudden loss of income and you can't, say, pay your heat bill and it's the middle of winter. If you can't pay your electric bill because you just lost your job and you haven't been able to find other income yet, you could put a check mark in the emergency assistance box. If you are applying for nothing but somebody else in your household is, then you would put none for yourself. The next set of boxes or questions are for them to decide if they need to expedite your application, meaning they need to process it faster. Usually it's only a few days, where it could take a week or so for them to process. So they ask you how much income, whether it's cash or checks, did or will your household get this month. And the household is not just you, it's everybody in that household. So if you suddenly lost your job or lost your source of income, but other people in the household do still have income, you need to put all the total household income for this month or the current month in that box. Number two, how much does your household, including children, have in cash, checking, or savings? Meaning it's readily accessible. Number three is how much does your household pay for rent or mortgage per month? If you have more than one mortgage, add them together and it's your monthly mortgage payment. What utilities do you pay? If you live in a rental unit that has utilities included, then you would not check the heat, air conditioning, or electricity. If you do pay your own heat, air conditioning, or electricity, then you would put checks or X's in those the appropriate boxes. If you have a phone, whether it be a landline or a cell phone that you pay for, you put a check in the box by phone. If you don't pay any of these, somebody pays them for you, then you would put none. Number four, is anyone in your household a migrant or seasonal farm worker? Yes or no? Number five, has anyone in your household ever received cash assistance, commodities, or SNAP benefits before? If they have, when was it? Where means which county or state they received it, and what type of benefit it was that you or anybody in the household was receiving. Number six, is anyone in your household pregnant at this time? Yes or no? If yes, the full legal name of the person who is pregnant. Do not fill any boxes that are grayed out, or if they say agency use, do not put any marks anywhere in that box. On page one, they ask for your signature, verifying that everything you've put in this application is true and correct to the best of your knowledge. If you are doing the fillable form or the paper form from the county, sign and date this form after you have printed it off or after you have fully completed it. On page 2 is where you begin listing other people that live in the household. There again, if you have an adult child that is 19 and they're applying for cash benefits, or if they're 22 and applying for SNAP benefits, they would list the other people in the home. If you are applying and there's other people living in the home with you, then person 2 would be typically your spouse, your significant other, other adult living in the house. Usually you include people from the oldest to youngest, except with the exception of person 1, who may be the youngest person in the house, but they're filling out the application, so they're still considered person 1. The same information is required for persons 2 through 5. You need their legal names, their last name first, then first name and middle name, any other names they go by, just like you did for yourself. Gender, whether they are male or female, and then their relationship to you, whether they are your child, maybe they're a roommate, maybe they're your significant other, maybe they're your husband or wife, whatever the case may be, you just put 1 or 2 words in this box. You're going to need their birth date, which is 2-digit month, 2-digit day, 2-digit year again. On the printable form, they have, and online, they have the drop-down menu for marital status again. If you are completing the paper form, they're right up above where it says marital status, and you just put the letter, the bold letter that is appropriate in this box on the paper form. If you are applying for benefits for them or you want them included as part of your household, you need to put their social security number. If they are part of your household but you don't want them to count, or if they're applying for their own, then you do not put their social security number. That is only if they are going to be included as part of your household or you want them counted as part of your household for your for any benefits that you're applying for. You do need to put their last grade completed, whether they are a U.S. citizen or national. You do not have to put their ethnicity or race if you choose not to. Those are optional. And there again, you need the date they most recently moved to Minnesota. If they are born and raised here, you'd put their birth date and leave the from box blank. If they moved here from somewhere else, you put the date they moved here and where they moved from. If you do want them included as part of your household for SNAP or cash or emergency assistance, you would put the check in the appropriate box that you want them to count for. If they are they just live in the household, but you don't want them included, then you would put none. For SNAP benefits for each person living in the home that qualifies, you get more food dollars if they are included in the house, in your household, and you put SNAP as, put a check mark in the SNAP box. 3, 4, and 5 are the same. On the top of page 3, it asks you to put your full legal name again, only you can do first name, then middle name, then last name, and top box here. Your social security number, don't worry about the case number, they will assign that. They just want to make sure that if these pages get separated, they can be put with the correct person by connecting them with the name and the social security number. Person 5, if you don't have that many people living in your home, just leave those blank. Here again, we've got a box that is only for agency use. Okay, then on this page is when we get to the household questions. If you have the adult child that is applying on their own, do not include them in your responses. These are the questions where they reply only for themselves, not the other people in their home, because they are considered their own household. So when it says, does everyone in your household buy, fix, or eat food with you? your adult child would answer that as their own household. So do they buy, fix, or eat food with themselves? But for you, if you share food, or if you sit down and have family meals, or you make a meal and everybody eats kind of the same thing, then it would be yes. If they don't, everybody basically buys their own food, fixes their own food, doesn't really share, then you would put no. Question number 2 is anyone in the household who is 60 years old or over, or if they're younger and disabled, are they unable to buy or fix food due to a disability? If you do not have anyone in the household who is over 60 or disabled, if they're not either one, then you leave that question blank. If you do have someone, then yes or no. Can they buy? Are they unable to buy or fix food due to their disability? Question number 3, is anyone in the household currently attending school? That includes college or community college or a training program through like a technical school, yes or no? And it wants to know, does anyone in the household attending school right now? Number 4, is anyone in your household temporarily not living in your home? Maybe they're on an extended vacation. They might be in foster care. They might be in a treatment facility or a long-term hospital stay, or they're staying somewhere else to try to find a job in another area. Yes or no? If everybody is living at the home and they're there pretty much all the time, then you put no. Number 5, is anyone blind, or does anyone have a physical or mental condition that limits the ability to work or perform daily activities? So they want to know, is anyone blind or have some sort of disability that limits their ability to work or take care of themselves? Yes or no? If even one person does, you'd put yes. If everybody is perfectly healthy, has no disabilities of any kind, they're able to work full time, and they're able to take care of themselves completely, then you'd put no. Number 6, is anyone unable to work for reasons other than illness or disability? If you, say, got laid off or fired from a job and you can't find a job right now, or anybody in your household is not able to work or find work, then you'd put yes. If everybody is able to work, and maybe they do work, then you put no. Choosing not to work or not wanting to work is not a reason to put yes. On the next page, you've got question number 7. In the last 60 days or 2 months, did anyone in the household stop working or quit a job? That means voluntarily. Did they refuse a job offer? If they're not working and someone offered them a job and they turned it down? Did you ask anybody in the household asked to work fewer hours or go part-time? Or did they go on strike? All of these are voluntary. Did they voluntarily work less or not work? Yes or no. Number 8, has anyone in the household had a job or been self-employed in the last year? If they did or do, then yes. If they didn't, then no. Number 9, does anyone in the household have a job or expect to get income from a job this month or next month? And that's anybody in the household. If yes, then you need the employer's name and your gross monthly earnings. If you get paid every 2 weeks, you'd take one paycheck times 2, and that would be your gross monthly before the taxes. That is not your net income. That is your gross income before taxes are taken out or any other deductions are taken out. You also have to include income from work study or paid internships. You have to include the value of any benefits that you receive for work, such as if you are living in someone else's home and your room and board is considered part of your salary, you have to figure out some sort of a dollar amount that goes with that. And all of these boxes that say agency use, do not put anything in those boxes. Question number 10, is anyone in the household self-employed, or does anyone expect to get income from self-employment this month or next month? If yes, what is going to be the gross monthly earnings? There again, it's before any deductions are taken out. And then it gives you some examples of income that may fall into this category. Number 11, do you expect any changes in this income, expenses, or work hours? Are you getting a raise? Are you going to be temporarily laid off? Are your hours going to be decreased because of downsizing or something? Or maybe they're going up. Maybe you're working and other people have quit or been laid off, and so you've got extra work, so you're putting in overtime. That would be a change. Do you expect any changes, good or bad, in your income, expenses, or work hours? Yes or no? Then when we get to the bottom of page 4, if you are a household with minor children, you have to designate one adult as the principal wage earner. Any adult in your SNAP household can be the principal wage earner. Basically, it's the person that's going to be responsible for all the activity on the account. If you're applying for a cash assistance program or emergency assistance, you do not need to fill out that box. Even if you have young children, this is only for SNAP. Okay, then on page 5, you've got boxes that ask about different types of income, and this is where having all of that paperwork handy will be very useful. Yes or no? Does anybody in the household get Social Security disability? Or yes or no? If you do have to answer yes or no. If they do, you have to put the total amount of Social Security for the household. And it's Social Security disability, not retirement or SSI. Yes or no, does anybody get veterans benefits? If they do, how much they get each month? Workman's comp, travel payments, SSI, unemployment insurance, retirement benefits, child support or alimony for spousal support, and then any other unearned income, such as gambling, profits, gifts people give to you that have a value, or maybe you have a special needs trust or a trust account that you get money from on a regular basis, then you have to put the dollar amount for that. Each of these lines should have a yes or no check mark. You cannot leave them blank. Any yeses must be accompanied by a monthly dollar amount. Okay, then you get down to question number 13. Does anyone in the household have or expect to get income from any student loans, scholarships, or grants for attending school? Just put yes or no, and they have already said above that that is one of the things they would need a copy of the financial aid award letter. If nobody's in school or if nobody's getting any kind of financial aid of any kind, then it would be no. 14 is for everybody applying for any kind of benefit. Does your household have the following housing expenses? You do have to check yes or no for each item. You cannot leave any of these lines blank. And then you have to include the proof of these things. Yes or no, do you pay rent? If you live in a mobile home, own the mobile home, but you're in a mobile home lot and you pay a lot rent, how much is the lot rent? Mortgage or contract for deed payment. Do you have one? Yes or no? If you're renting and don't own any property or aren't buying any property, then it'd be no. If you are paying for your own home or are doing contract for deed to purchase a home, then it would be yes. If you live in a home that you have completely paid for and there is no mortgage, it would be no. Do you have homeowners insurance? If it's not included in the mortgage, same with the real estate taxes. If they are included in your mortgage payment, if they are escrowed into your mortgage, then you would put no. If they are not and you pay them separately on your own, it would be yes. Do you have any association fees? That would be like homeowners associations, or if you live in some sort of a co-op, do you pay a fee? If you don't pay any of these, but you do pay just for room and board, you live with, say your adult child lives with you, they would put, and you provide their room and board, then they would put yes if they are paying you anything. If no, then it would be no. Question number 15, does your household have the following utility expenses any time during the year? Heating or air conditioning. If you have just heat in the winter, but you don't have air conditioning, then it would still be yes because you have the heating. Water and sewer, if you live in town, typically that is included on your electric and or water bill. It's usually included somewhere. It's usually not a separate bill, but on some smaller communities, it is separate. Then it would be yes. If it's included in your electric bill, it would still be yes because it is billed. Electricity, garbage removal, cooking fuel would be separate from your heating fuel. That's if you cook with some other type of method besides electricity or the whatever type of fuel you use for your heating. Do you pay for a landline phone or a cell phone? Yes or no? Does anyone in your household receive energy assistance of more than $20 in the past year? If you apply for energy assistance and are awarded energy assistance and you get more than $20, then yes. If not, then no. Number 16, do you or anyone living with you have costs for the care of children so you can work? Or so that you can go to school? It does not include what you pay, what the Child Care Assistance Program pays. Sorry. If you receive child care assistance and the county pays some of your child care costs, you would put yes only if you pay any of your own child care costs. Number 17, do you or anyone living with you have costs for care of an ill or disabled adult because you are there working, looking for work, or going to school? And there again, it's ill or disabled. Do you or anyone else have a out-of-pocket cost not covered by somebody else or some other program to care for an ill or disabled adult? Number 18, does anyone in the household pay court-ordered child support, spousal maintenance or alimony, child care support, medical support, or contribute to a tax dependent who does not live in your home? So this wants to know, does anyone pay any of these things, not collect them? If you pay any of these, then it would be yes. If you do not, then it's no. If you only receive, it's no. If you pay for a tax dependent that does not live in your home, say you've got a child that is in foster care, maybe they've been removed from the home temporarily, or they've gone to live with a relative temporarily for whatever reason, and you pay someone to do that, then it would be yes. If not, then no. Question 19 is only if you are applying for SNAP. If you're applying for cash assistance or emergency assistance, but not SNAP, then you don't answer that question. You leave it blank. If you are applying for SNAP or food stamps, they want to know, does anyone in the household have medical expenses that are not covered by insurance? If your medical insurance pays for most, all, or everything, then you would put no. If you pay a copay or a deductible or something like that for medical bills, then it would be yes. To get a medical deduction, you must provide proof of all medical bills incurred by anyone in your household who is disabled or 60 years of old or older. Question number 20 is only if you are applying specifically for the general assistance cash benefit. If you're applying for SNAP or one of the other cash benefits programs or emergency assistance, leave question 20 blank. If you are applying for general assistance, they want to know, does anyone in the household have expenses related to work, training, or job search, such as transportation, meals, or uniforms? If you have any of those out-of-pocket expenses, then you would put yes. If you don't, then you would put no. Transportation includes like gas to and from job interviews or meeting with job finding agencies or something like that. It would be included in that. Question 21 is for everybody that is filling out this application for any of the benefits. Does anyone in the household own or is anyone buying any of the following? Check yes or no for each item. You cannot leave any of those lines blank. Does anybody in the household have any cash? Yes or no? Does anybody that lives in the household have a checking, savings account, anything like that, certificate of deposit, anything through a bank? Yes or no? Does anybody in the household own a car, truck, motorcycle, any type of vehicle that we've talked about at the very beginning? Yes or no? Does anybody else have any other assets? What they consider assets is anything that could be sold to bring money. So that includes tools, boats, livestock, ATVs, that kind of anything. Any other assets that are not covered in any of these other categories, you'd put yes or no. Does anybody in the household have a life insurance or a burial policy or burial insurance or a burial account with a funeral home? And what is the value? They're going to want to know what the value is. Does anybody own stocks, bonds, or annuities or anything like that? Yes or no? Does anybody own or are they buying a home or a house or land or any other kind of real estate? Maybe you live in a house and you have a mortgage for a rental property. That would be a yes, because you do own or are buying real estate property. Question number 22 is for everybody. Has anybody in the household given away, sold, or traded anything of value in the past 12 months? That's any given away or sold or traded anything such as real estate, bank accounts, annuities, vehicles. Did you have an old car, you bought a new car, and maybe you gave instead of trading your old car in, you gave it to your adult child? That would be giving it away, and you'd have to say yes. If not, then you put no. Question 23 is only if you are already receiving one of these benefits and this is for the recertification. If you're not recertifying and this is a new application, you're applying for the first time or you're reapplying after not getting benefits for a while, then you don't answer this question. If this is for certification, did anyone move in or out of your home in the past 12 months? So since you recertified last, which is usually once a year, has the content of your household changed? Do the same people that live there then live there now. There again, this is only if you're being recertified for one of these programs, not if you're applying for. Number 24 is for everybody. Are both parents of each child under the age of 19 living in the home? If you're divorced, then it would be no. If you don't have a child under the age of 18 in your household, then you would leave that blank because it only applies if you have children, minor children. Number 25 is only if you are applying for MSA or Minnesota Supplemental Aid. If you're applying for general assistance or SNAP or anything like that, MFIP, you do not have to answer this question. If you are applying for MSA, they want to know, is anyone in the household on a diet prescribed by a doctor, a low-fat diet, a low-cholesterol diet, a diabetic diet, a low-sodium diet, any kind of specific diet that your doctor has in writing that you should be on and has prescribed that? Yes or no? Okay. Then we get to this page, and it wants to know if you have someone else that you want to help you with this account or with your benefits. Do you want them to help fill out forms and apply for help from the agency? If you're an adult and you have a legal guardian, your legal guardian should be filling out this form for you. Or if you want someone to fill it out for you or help you fill it, or you want them to fill out the forms for you, not with you, but for you. Or if you want them to get notices or information. So if your recertification is coming up and you're not good at remembering things, if you want someone else to help you keep tabs on when some of this stuff is due and you want them to get the notices as well. Or if you get SNAP benefits and buy your food through the EBT account and you want somebody else to be able to use that card, then you would need to add their names to this list if any of those apply. The person you want to include, you'd put their name, their relationship to you, their phone number, their address, their city, their state, and their zip code. And then then you would pick which of these boxes applies. Do you want them just to help fill out forms? You're going to put a check in that box. If you want them to get notices or letters saying whether you qualify or not when it's time for recertification, if more information is requested, if you want them to get those notices as well, you put a checkbox there. If you want them to be able to use your SNAP benefits and use your EBT card for SNAP, you need to put a check mark there. Otherwise, you will be the only one that will be authorized to use that card or even have access to that card. If there's more than one person, put person number 2, person number 3. What you check for boxes is the same as for person 1, but it might be maybe you want one person to help you fill out the forms, but you want somebody else to help keep track of where things are sitting or when recertifications are due or when information is requested. Whichever applies to this particular person, you're going to put the appropriate box. Then we get down to, this question is for everybody. Do you have a legal guardian or conservator, or does somebody have power of attorney for you? Yes or no? And legal guardian, if you're over 18, which for these programs, you have to be over 18 to fill out this application, or unless you're an emancipated minor. And then there's another whole set of rules. But anyway, if you're 18 or older and you have a legal guardian appointed by the court, or if you have a conservator appointed by the court, or if you have a power of attorney document that was prepared by an attorney or through a lawyer's, then you would put yes or no. If you do, yes. If you don't, then no. If you do have a legal guardian, conservator, or a power of attorney, you need their full name, first, middle, and last name. Do you pay them to do that job for you? Yes or no? If yes, how much do you pay them and how often do you pay it? This question is also for everybody. You have to check yes or no. Are you currently getting help from a social worker or a social services agency? Yes or no, do you need help with referrals for other areas such as food shelves, housing, transportation? Do you need information to get those things? And then the last question, yes or no, do you want to register to vote or update your registration? Yes or no, either you do or you don't. Okay, comments. Comments is one area where you can include other household members. Just make sure that you include the same information as you did where under persons 2 through 5. So if you have 6 or 7 people living in your house, this is one place where you could add those people. If there's other information in the form that you think needs an explanation, you can put the comment there. Make sure you put the question number or the section number, and then keep your explanation or information, keep it very brief and concise, just because there isn't a lot of space in that box. Okay, then page 8 is the penalties or warnings about the use of EBT cards, your SNAP benefits, those kinds of things, all the legal ramifications and what can happen with the benefits themselves. Everybody does need to complete these questions. Number 1, has a court order or other civil or administrative process in Minnesota or any other state found anyone in the household guilty, or has anyone been disqualified from receiving public assistance for breaking any of the rules that they listed at the top of this page? So if anybody in the household has, even if it's one person, it's yes. If nobody has, then it's no. Number 2, has anybody in the household been convicted of making fraudulent statements about their place of residence to get cash or SNAP benefits from more than one state? You have to answer yes or no, and it's anyone in the household. So if one has, it's yes. If nobody has, it's no. Number 3, is anyone in your household hiding or running from the law to avoid prosecution, being taken into custody, or to avoid going to jail for a felony? This is only for felony convictions. Yes or no. If one person does, it's yes. If one person is, then it's no. Or if nobody is, then it's no. Number 4, has anyone in your household been convicted of a drug felony in the past 10 years? Yes or no. There again, if even one person has, it's yes. If nobody has, it's no. Is anyone in your household currently violating a condition of parole, probation, or supervised release? Yes or no. If even one person is, it's yes. If nobody is, then it's no. If you answered yes to any of these questions, you have to include the question number, who the person is. If more than one yes or more than one person, you'd put the question number. If it's a different, if more than one yes, you'd put the second question number. If more than one person, but it's the same question, put the same question number and a different household member's name. You need their full legal name, first, middle, and last. If you have more than 2 yeses or more than 2 people and 2 boxes isn't enough, you can put question number and household member under here for 2. This gives you a space for 2 additional if you need to. Then it goes on to explain that if you're applying for some sort of a cash program, they do have expectations that you will be seeking employment unless you are applying for or have been approved for Social Security disability, or if you're over the age of 60 or 65, I believe, or if you have are receiving SSI or SSDI. Here again, this page just gives you a bunch more information, and then you have, by signing this application, you're going to sign and date it again, as you did on the first page. When you sign this, you're agreeing that you understand that a cash assistance is provided to help eligible families meet their needs. You're signing that you understand that if you give incorrect information or misuse an EBT card, you may be prosecuted for fraud. You're signing that you acknowledge that since your last application or recertification, you have received your cash or SNAP benefits directly or used your EBT card to get cash or SNAP benefits. If you sign this application, you acknowledge that you have read and understand the penalty warnings and qualification questions in section 8, in the section on page 8. By signing this, you acknowledge that your worker has given you a copy of the Notice of Debt Privacy Practices and your responsibilities and your rights, which are on the page I at the very beginning of this form. It's one of the pages we scrolled past, but you're verifying that you did get a copy of those pages. By signing this, you agree to assign your child support as stated above. Sometimes they take, if you receive cash programs or child care assistance or some other benefits, one of the requirements is that if you are not receiving child support, the county will pursue child support on your behalf. If you sign this, you agree to the sharing of information as stated on the fraud release information section above. And if you sign this, you're agreeing to the sharing of information as stated in the Social Security number section at the beginning of this entire form that we scrolled past. That information is in there. Once you understand everything and you've completed everything, you're going to sign it and date it. If you have a legal representative or someone that is filling out forms on your behalf, they were listed on that other page, then they would sign. If you have a spouse or other adult living in the home, they must sign this as well. Anybody over the age of 18 must sign this application if they live in your household or live in your home. Signature of the authorized representative. If you sign it and you have a legal guardian or a power of attorney or somebody else that is authorized to represent you, they also have to sign it. And then if there's more than one, then they would sign that as well. Agency use, you do not write anything below that black line for agency use. And then when you get here, this is the space, more space where you can answer questions such as additional people in the household, more than one job, more than one type of income that you didn't have room for on the previous pages. Anything that you could not put in there, say you're a person that has 2 jobs and somebody else in the house has another 1 or 2, you may not be able to put all the employment information in the income section, so you can put it here. Just make sure to specify the section and or question number that it applies to, and make sure to include all the same information as the original section where you first put the information you're going to be adding on to. Okay, that is the end of this presentation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call or reach out to us. After the entire application is completed, make sure that you make copies of all the incomes, assets, bills and payment information, bank account information, all of the information that you use to complete the form. If you're completing and submitting the application completely online, hold on to those copies of those papers because the county will be asking for them later. If you're completing the fillable and printable form or the paper form, go ahead and submit the copies of those verifications with your application to the local county human services or social services office. Whatever you don't include, if they need it, they will send you a notification that they need copies of those. I recommend making copies of them. Do not give them the originals. If you have to give them originals, make sure you add a little note, whether it's a post-it note or a letter attached requesting that these are your originals and to please ask them to return them to you. If you have any questions or you need help completing this application, please reach out to us. Give us a call at 507-532-2221. If you want to meet in person, call that number and schedule an appointment, and somebody will meet with you to go through the application with you. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook page at Swizzle SWCIL Marshall MN. We are the Southwestern Center for Independent Living. And like I said, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.